What's going on, family? Sir here, and I've been providing you videos about reasons why you should move to Charlotte and the positive things that Charlotte has to offer. Well, in this video, I'm going to do a 180 of that. I like to be fair and balanced and give people the pros and cons of every situation. So let's jump right into the reasons why you should not move to Charlotte. The first reason is the cost of living is not as cheap as you think when you think about moving to the South. Make sure that the things and conveniences that you're used to, you can afford it here in the Charlotte area. Housing has gotten significantly more expensive than it was just 3-4 years ago. What was a $300,000 home is now a $500,000 home. And I don't have to tell you, if you're looking at buying a home, interest rates are in the low sixes right now, much different than it was just a year ago when it was in the 3% range. So the cost of living has to be factored in if you're thinking about moving to the Carolinas. If you do not, as a household, make anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000 a year at a minimum, you'll be able to live in Charlotte. But will you be able to comfortably live in Charlotte and take advantage of all it has to offer and be able to save and budget like you ought to be? It's going to be quite a challenge, and especially if you have kids. If you're looking for a more affordable option in the Carolinas, I suggest you check out Columbia, South Carolina, or the Triad region of North Carolina. I'm talking Greensboro, Winston-Salem, High Point area. Those areas are more affordable. Now, the next one should not be a shocker. You're coming to a major city. Traffic and infrastructure in all major cities are horrific. Pretty much all major cities are horrific. There's never enough infrastructure to facilitate the movement and flow of traffic. So traffic during rush hour and the peak hours is going to be backed up. You're going to be frustrated. If you live in one of the suburbs and have to go uptown every single day, be prepared to make that hour and a half commute if it's during rush hour one way. Now, to those of you coming from larger cities, that may seem like a breath of fresh air because you're used to commuting 2, 3, 4 hours one way. Now, the next reason why you might not want to move to Charlotte is if you're expecting the Southern experience. You're not going to get that. Charlotte is an amalgamation of different cultures and lifestyles. You're not going to have the traditional Southern charm. Now, you do have Southern charm. People are warm and welcoming for the most part, especially when you get to the suburbs. But if you're looking for the traditional Southern lifestyle, Charlotte isn't it. Charlotte is full of transplants and people that come here because of what it affords. The lifestyle, the slowness, but yet with a higher income. So if you want the traditional Southern living, sitting on the back porch or on your balcony with a very slow pace of life, I say consider Charleston or one of the suburbs of Charleston, South Carolina. Now, this next reason on why you should not move to Charlotte, North Carolina often gets overlooked. Charlotte has very poor air quality. Now, I don't know how nobody's ever mentioned this in other videos that I've watched regarding Charlotte, but the air quality in Charlotte ranks 41st in major cities in the United States. That's not good. That's not good at all. So if you're one that has allergies or have breathing problems, Charlotte may not be for you. To coincide with the air quality regarding pollution, I have to tell you about the allergies and the pollen when it comes springtime and even in the fall. There's different pollens during each season, and it impacts your respiratory system differently. So if you have allergies or are sensitive to different pollens, Charlotte may not be for you. In fact, my daughter, we found out that she's allergic to just about every tree and pollen there is. And it's a bit sad because I want her to go play soccer and be outside, but her body, her respiratory system is like, no, you're gonna stay your butt inside. So if you have kids or if you are sensitive to allergens, Charlotte may not be the best place for you or your kids. Now let's talk about crime. Now, maybe I'm desensitized. My background is a former criminal defense attorney, but when you look it up, Charlotte does have an unusually high crime rate. Again, it doesn't impact me. I didn't really think too much about it, but again, I may be desensitized due to my former life as a criminal defense attorney. So you have to be aware of the crime rate here in Charlotte. I have to caveat that though. Most crimes take place between people that know each other. And if you do not put yourself in certain situations, now I understand I may get some backlash regarding that because yes, some crime is random, but a lot of crime takes place between people that know each other. So if you're like me and just mind your business and don't really worry about anybody else and what they're doing, you're not going to really be impacted by crime. I haven't been a victim of, that's a lie. I was going to say I haven't been a victim of crime, but when I lived uptown and I lived in a condo or a townhouse uptown and my bikes did get stolen. Now I'm not making excuses, but it was during spring break. All the kids were free and off. And during that time, during spring break and summertime, crime does tend to pick up because kids, teenagers have a lot of idle time. And I didn't lock my gate. So they were just testing everybody's gates in the community, and I didn't lock mine, and I got. They got me for my bikes. Very nice bikes too, and I mean bicycles, not motorcycles. So aside from that, I have not been a victim of crime here in the Charlotte region. So be wise, lock your doors, lock your gates, and you should be good so long as you stay to yourself and mind your business. Now that's not going to be the case for everyone, but that's my general rule, and it's done well for me for the last 15 or so years. Before we move on from crime, yes, it does matter where you live in the community and neighborhood in which you live in, as far as how often or how prevalent crime occurs and happens. I lived in a middle-class neighborhood, a couple of years ago, and there was gunshots in the morning. And it woke a lot of people up in the community. And all you heard on the Nextdoor app was people trying to find out what happened. And it turned out to be somebody's lover got angry and ended up shooting somebody's house up. Nobody got injured. I'm not downplaying it. Nobody got injured. And this happened in the middle class area of Charlotte. And in my opinion, a nice area. It's quiet, very family oriented, but people do stupid things in the heat of passion and when love is involved. Now we're going to talk about the public school system in Charlotte. Now the public school system in Charlotte is not the worst in the country by any means, but if you're thinking of coming to Charlotte and believe that all public schools are good and your kid is going to get the best education, that's a fallacy. One, education starts in the home. Parents, make it a priority to teach your kids and instill that at home. But when you go to school, a lot of the public school districts in Charlotte may have a good elementary or a good middle or a good high school. Very rarely in the Charlotte area are you going to find a school district that has very good or excellent elementary, middle, and high school in the same school district. There are about 4 or 5 of those areas, and I've done a video talking about the school districts in Charlotte. Please check that out. But there may be 4 or 5 of those areas in Charlotte, and those areas are in high demand, and you guessed it, they are more expensive to live in. Now, Mecklenburg County does have school choice, meaning if you do not like the school that you're zoned for or that your kids are zoned for, you can choose your top 3 schools on where you would like your kid to go. Now, when I was going through that, my daughter did get in one of the top 3 schools that we chose, but I do understand that that is not everybody's reality, and you don't want to be relying on a lottery system to ensure that your kids get in the school that you want them to get in. On the flip side, Charlotte does have some very excellent private schools. And yes, they cost money, but they're nowhere near as expensive as private schools in other major cities. We're talking anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000, which again, $30,000, $10,000 is a lot per school year, per kid. But when you go to some of the other major cities, you're talking $40,000 to $60,000 per year per kid for a private school education. Now, this is a con that I often hear from people moving to the area, is that Charlotte lacks racial diversity. I don't think that that's the case. So that may be a con to some people. However, I've been in the area for quite some time and I've experienced a lot that Charlotte has to offer, and just the different museums and cultural events and experiences and dining. And I can tell you that Charlotte has a plethora of options when it comes to experiencing diversity and culture. In fact, just this past week, I was invited to the Real African American Art Gallery, which is in the university area of Charlotte. So Charlotte does provide a lot of culture, diversity, and just different experiences if you take the time to just seek out what Charlotte has to offer. And please do me a favor. Everyone, hit that like button and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts about Charlotte. If I am off base regarding these reasons on why you should not move to Charlotte, or if you have some additional reasons on why people should not come to Charlotte or should avoid the Charlotte region.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall.